You're listening to the Farmyard Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Farmyard and afitbelly.com. Episode 68. The Chronicles of the Lost Oasis. You know, I love characters because I'm a character. I know I'm a character. And when I'm in the company of other characters, I just connect like a magnet. And that's what happened with me and my friend Bubba. He is a cowboy who lives in the California desert. And I only met him, I'd say a good 6 months ago or so. But I gotta tell you, his depth of knowledge insofar as energies and intentions are concerned are really producing very positive physical results. So I asked him if he would come on to the podcast, and he said he would. So I'm very excited for him to share some of his knowledge with us. And get ready, because this will not be the only episode, because it's the Chronicles of the Lost Oasis. So let's bring him right on right now.
Morning.
Morning.
Can I do something? Can I do something before we start playing?
I would love you to.
Please allow the energy that we be to coexist and commingle with all other energies in a flow. Please allow the highest vibrating beings to dictate that flow. Thank you. Words that come from us be the perfect words for every interaction, and allow those words to be in the perfect vibration, frequency, and tone for all living things to understand. Thank you. Now, you ought to feel a little better.
I always feel good, honest to goodness gracious, but I'm sure our listeners feel a little better, because isn't that a wonderful way to go consciously into the night? I mean, it's all about a consciousness. It's all about our level of awareness. And that brings me to how we met. About 2 years ago, Evan Folds, Farmyard Soil Doctor, and you've heard a lot about Evan. And if you hadn't, go back on the episodes. There's quite a few very interesting topics that we discuss. But about 2 years ago, Evan asked me to get in contact with this man out in Liverpool, Mike Emery. And Mike is a physicist. And I did. I got in touch with Mike, and I just had begun podcasting, and Mike is a physicist and I am a farmer, and they don't start with the same letter, folks. I got off that phone call and I said, I don't know. I don't know if I could podcast with him, because I don't know what he's talking about. So I kind of put it in a file folder in the back of my mind. Then about 6 months ago, Mike Emery got in contact with me once again via an email, and the subject was Orgone bubble. Now he had me hooked, because why? I had an atmospheric reorganizer in Walker Valley, and that is a device that accumulates the energy of orgone. So he had a hook, and I went in, and I called him, and I went right down the rabbit hole. From the time I had my first conversation on the phone with Mike, within 3 days, I set up 4 interviews from 4 different people on the Orgone bubble technology. Mike Emery was one, the physicist in Liverpool. Bill Teasing, an electrical engineer in Nashville. There's Monica in Mexico that had more holistic certifications after her name that I even knew existed. And if you know me, I know my holistic practitioners. I know how to spell reflexology and muscle testing, but she was really incredible. And the fourth person was Bubba, a cowboy in the California desert. And that, my friends, is how Bubba and I got connected. Now, I'm sure, Bubba, my listeners want to find out about this bubble, so I would love for you to dig deep into the area of the technology of the bubble and how really simple it is for anyone to construct it and why we all need to bubble up.
Well, it's old technology, and it's a combination of technologies. Wilhelm Reich, which is one of the greatest scientists on the planet, was suppressed with his information of orgone energy, which literally is decomposition of existing energies, releasing new energy into the atmosphere. That's the term orgone. Tesla, which invented a violet ray that comes off at 333,333,333,333, hertz. It's a violet ray, and it was introduced into the medical community in the 1920s because it killed all types of infection. Well, it was outlawed to be made in the United States because of Rockefeller medicine, because it actually worked. And nowadays, it's being brought back as a health and beauty aid, run over your skin to bring the collagen back to your skin to reduce wrinkles. And you can run it over your scalp and it'll regrow hair. It does all kinds of things. I've got, 6 emails from people all over the world that have thousands of uses for this device. And well, Bill got ripped one night and said, well, I don't understand this. And he's been studying orgone because he kept hearing about orgone. And the rest of it was just where we all flew by the seat of our pants, and I see energy. So they brought it to me. Now, I've got orgone pieces out here in the mountains and around electric plants and around cell towers, and I know what it does because I see what it does. And then Bill brought this out here with a violet ray, and I had an infrared light, and we lit it up. And what I saw instantly, Bill made a little video of what it does. It literally, there's videos on YouTube of orgone charging plates where you can set a clear beaker of water on an orgone charging plate and stick it in the freezer and let it freeze. And it does in the water exactly what I see in the ethers, in the air. It makes like a nuclear explosion. It makes a column of energy coming up, and then it spreads out like a nuclear explosion.
So interesting. And this, but this is actually a positive nuclear explosion.
Well, I call it a nuclear explosion from my limited realm of perception. That's what it looks like to me. I've seen enough video of nuclear explosions to see what it does. And this thing does the same thing. It makes a great big mushroom in the air. It literally just goes up for miles in a straight column, and then it blows apart.
So let's tell the listeners the components. Like, this is not something that you need to have an electrical license or a plumbing license. These are really very simple devices that are made from common materials, right, Bubba?
Well, there's 2 or 3 ways to make them. I like videos by Orgonite Austin. He has really delved into it, and the farther in the wormhole you go, the more you find out, and to the point that people think he's crazy, but he's as sane as I am, but they call me crazy too. So you can make it with many different things, but basically OrgoniseAfrica.com, they have reclaimed 8 miles a year for the last 10 years of the Sudan desert with orgone, just simply orgone pucks placed on the earth. Now, all we've done is add different frequencies to it to make it more powerful than that. It is made from metal shavings. It is made with a few crystals, and you can either use cement or you can use a two-part epoxy or a two-part fiberglass resin to cast it all in a mold. It takes very little expertise to make one, or if you're lazy, then, or you're crazy like me, I just ask and the pieces just show up in the mail for me to test them.
It's that simple, huh, honey? It's that simple. I mean, after interviewing these 4 individuals, I could not wait to build my bubble. And I, in fact, did build my bubble all by myself. It was a very simple process, but the benefits have been outstanding. The day I activated my bubble, the sky was different. Now that's a relative term, right? Different from what? What does that mean? Well, for me, being a farmer, the one skill set that I knew I had to hone in on, and did in fact hone in on, was the art of observation. So the sky is a very, integral component in your farming operation. And the sky, the day I activated the bubble, the blue was very clear and the white clouds were extremely clear. It was almost as if it was a sky from my childhood. So I noticed that immediately. And now the benefits have just, keep ringing on. I mean, it is a process. There is a process of intention. And my listeners know that this is far from the first time that I am discussing that we grow what we think, period.
Well, here's what I've discovered.
Mm-hmm.
Or Wilhelm Reich made a thing called an Orgone accumulator, which was 5 layers of metal, basically steel wool and rock wool and wood. He made a wooden box and he lined it with rock wool and then steel wool and then rock wool and then steel wool and then rock wool and then steel wool and then rock wool and a galvanized metal. He made 5 layers. Mm-hmm. And he could set any person or any animal in this for a period of 7 to 9 minutes, 3 times in 1 week, and cure all disease. Mm-hmm. That accumulated Orgone energy. What we're doing, I call it a heart genie. These bubbles are not only vacuuming the negative energy and transmuting it and projecting good energy through this piece. I call it a heart genie because literally, from what I see, whoever creates these and lights them up, there is a thread from this bubble, no matter where they go, it's tied to their heart. And the unlimited part of your heart, which we as humans cannot even comprehend unlimited, but the unlimited part of your heart is projected through this. So no matter where you go, wherever you go away from your bubble, you're part of your bubble and you transmute all energies around you that are not healing energies. And you can attest to this. You travel a whole bunch more than I do. Everywhere you go, people greet you in a different manner than they did before you had a bubble.
It's really pretty remarkable. I mean, I'll tell you how much I love my bubble. We're recording this the week of Thanksgiving. We're recording this on a Monday, and this coming Thursday is Thanksgiving. And I'll be traveling north on Wednesday, going to spend the holiday with my sister Marina, my baby sister, number 7. I have, a big family. I'm the oldest of 8. I have 3 sisters and 4 brothers. So I am going to be taking my bubble with me because I want to bubble up Edgewater, New Jersey. And while I am there, my sister Marina and we're going to build her bubble. So it's look, this is how I look at it. My father taught me one thing. He taught me this. If you throw enough poop up in the air, something's bound to stick. So what did I have to lose by going down the rabbit hole? I had nothing to lose except for a bag of cement and a $30 wand. And what did I have to gain? Oh my goodness. I had to gain a state of euphoria. And if every now let's take a minute. Let's take a minute and let's just picture this. Let's picture that everyone in your social circle, personal social circle, people that you see physically on a daily basis, let's imagine that they have all built an Orgone bubble. What do you
I got a better idea.
Tell me, Bubba.
What if you made a small piece and gifted them with the Orgone piece, and then you tell them where to get the violet wand and how to get infrared light on it, and then not only is their energy in the piece, yours is too, and then that way where two or more come into agreement, it is done.
Well, that's a great idea, and I just want to let everyone know, anyone that is listening that is on Facebook, please go to the Facebook page called Bubble Tech, Tech. That is our closed Facebook page. And I will also put these links in the show notes so you'll be able to just go there. But when you do go to that page, there are files. So if you go across the top on your phone, just keep swiping, go to the files section. And just Google down, I think yesterday it was 5 or 6 files down, how to build an Orgone bubble. I'll put that in the show notes as well. So far, I really enjoyed this PDF because it's a diagram and it's a list of what's needed. So my friend Anders, who lives in Virginia, last weekend, we went out on a bubble, bubble making shopping, and we only had to go to 2 stores. We went to Home Depot and we went to a crystal store, and that was it. It was 2-stop shopping, and he is going to be building his bubble as well. So what did they say, Bubba? If we had between 42,000 and 55,000 bubbles, it would change like the 100th monkey. Is that not correct?
Well, we're seeing right around 55,000. There's different dowsers. Different dowsers have a different number. You know how that is. That's different perspectives. But sure, if we can get 55,000 of these, it seems that once you light these up, they communicate with each other without your intention in it. Mine, I never put an intention in my bubble because I'm an observer. I'm a farmer. And I observe everything, not just one thing. And from what I'm seeing, these things just hook up in the ethers. And they start creating a blanket around the world. And the more we can do this, it counteracts the dark magic that's being thrown at us by the controllers of the world.
Right. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of questions, and I know that there will be advances in this technology in the days to come, never mind the weeks to come. So that's why we're going to have the Chronicles of the Lost Oasis, and that is the name of Bubba's farm. He's going to stay connected to myself and to our community to keep us abreast of things that are happening. But what I want to discuss before we run out of time is this, and I want to do it in a way that our listeners can understand. My next project is to create something that I just saw in the Bubble Tech page. I don't think it's more than 4 or 5 days ago. Why did you explain this technology to us, Bubba?
Well, I'll explain it the best of my perception. Okay. I created a device in the dark that was downloaded that gave life back to dead trees. And my device, after 3 years of doing what it do, bringing dead trees back to life, I was to share it with a guy that's very very connected to the slim Spurling technology. Now, slim Spurling made things out of copper and brass wire that make a scalar type energy or a 0 point energy that does healing. Well, this friend of mine is Brian Besco at twistedsage.com, and he calls what he does a tensor field generator. And he sent me a tensor field generator with 3 harmonizers to do the same thing that my little device does, because my little device is ugly and it can't be explained because it was made in the dark from something that came through my brain. And so I hung his device in a dead tree, and it was 3 weeks it started producing leaves, and the tree had been dead for 3 years. And we also call these Genesa Crystals, and there's websites out there about Genesa Crystals built in labyrinth somewhere up in New York, I think. And literally they built this labyrinth in a Genesa crystal out of flat copper, and I think it's about 9 feet tall. But on a hard freeze, an early hard freeze, the sides of the trees toward the Genesa crystal stayed green. Outside the labyrinth, on the outside of this, they froze. So what it does is phenomenal. And I can tell you this from personal experience. I don't care how old the tree is, and it's been dead a couple of years. You hang this in the tree 9 feet above the earth, and it brings dead trees back to life.
Well, I will be sure to put all of those links in the show notes. And Bubba, if you would be so kind as to send any information that you want to go with this episode to me in an email, or however, a text message, however you can, because Bubba lives in the sticks. Let's tell everyone where you live, Bubba.
I'm 6.6 miles from the Vasquez Fault. I'm to the north of the Vasquez Fault. I'm 6.6 miles south of the San Andreas Fault. I'm 51 miles from Edwards Air Force Base main gate, and I'm an hour and a half from the pedophile capital, Hollywood.
Unbelievable. Well, thank God you're planted there, honey.
Well, I was guided here about 10 years ago, and in the position I was doing, I was making habitats for animals, and I met a magic lady. And this magic lady is phenomenal, and she invited me to her place to help dispel the negative energies around, because she couldn't go outside when it was dark. And come to find out, the house she lived in used to be the sheriff's department, and even to the point her storage building was a 3-cell jail where much death happened. But that was when it was gold mining days in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Wow. And one thing's for sure, I don't know about you guys, but I'll never get tired of listening to you laugh, honey bunches of oats.
I get told all the time it's a really ornery laugh. And
I love your laugh.
I'm just creating anew. And we're all creators, except for our misdirected education makes us think we're smaller than we are. And with these little toys we play with, we're learning more and more about the connection of our heart. We live in a biological computer that most can't even comprehend. Medical science to this day still doesn't understand how this all works. But in the world that I play in, I've been dead a few times, half a dozen or so, and I get to see things that others can't comprehend. Therefore, I'm out here in the desert on the Lost Oasis doing what I do from my understanding of what I play with.
And I just want to learn all about your play habits, my dear.
Well, I grow my own food. I have for decades. I've regrown fingertips. I've regrown bones. I've killed disease in my body. And each of us are our own healers. No doctor can heal you. Your healing comes from between your ears and understanding that in your grand design, you need nothing but pure water and sunlight. You're no more than a plant. I lived that way for 3 years, eating nothing but sunlight and water. And once I did that, a connection appeared that most can't even comprehend.
Well, how could they comprehend? Because that is very enlightened to be able to live on sunlight and water.
This is why they're blocking the sun. Once the human knows it can live off of purified water and sunlight, then their industry of poison falls away. So the only way to stop that is the health-giving thing, the sun, which gives you all your vitamins and the ways to uptake your minerals if you'll walk barefoot on the earth for a few minutes a day. If you know that you can live on nothing but water and sunlight and earth, just like the trees do, what does that do for you?
Gives you freedom.
Yes. Putting these toys into play, and you stop being selfish and you start giving life to everything around you, then your health and life comes in and mixes with all of that, and you get more healthy and you get more life, and you stop poisoning yourself because your body will reject the things not beneficial for it, and it'll be a natural thing.
It's amazing. And I'll tell you one thing for sure. It makes you very happy, because I've led a very happy life. And I've always attributed it to my connection to the earth beneath my feet. That's where that was really my college education. I think I have a PhD in that. And biodynamics is the only farming method that brings in the cosmic energy. Because as a biodynamic farmer, I am not just farming the earth beneath my feet. I'm farming the air. I'm utilizing the help of all the nature spirits. And yes, indeedy, they are real. And I could have never done what I did in Walker Valley by myself, because it was not humanly possible. That's why. But I had a seriously.
You don't understand, see? I get to see energy, and every human has 42 to 49 energies around them that are always there waiting to help, yet we've been taught to make statements instead of ask questions. Now, when you ask questions, these energies around you jump out in front of you and bring what is needed to you. But you got to ask questions, not make statements.
Well, there you go. That's our segue. Bubba. In our next episode of the Chronicles of the Lost Oasis, we are going to talk about energies and elemental beings, and we'll have some instructions on how our listeners can connect with those very energies. How's that sound, Bubba?
I'm ready to play in anything. The biggest thing is quit working, start playing.
That's it. Play every day. That'll be our tagline for our series, Bubba. Play every day. The Chronicles of the Lost Oasis. Well, thank you, my friend. I thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, I got to go feed my critters. They're out there hollering at me, so it's a perfect time.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I tell you all the time. I'm jealous. Shut up. Have a great day, sweetheart.
It's very rare that I speak to humans. So I'm always talking to the critters. And there's one verse in every religious text that everybody takes out of context. Where two or more come into agreement, it is done. Nobody ever said they both had to be human.
There you go, baby doll. On that note, thanks again, Bubba. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, girly girl. I got to go feed my critters.
Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the Farmyard Podcast. I hope you found this information to be as intriguing as I have. And I hope that some of you go out and put it into action. Go build a bubble. In the show notes, I put each and every single link so that you can investigate it on your own by yourself. If you did, in fact, get some value out of the podcast, please download it and subscribe and ask any questions you want in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to give you a shout out on one of our future podcasts. Well, next week I am going to be interviewing Carol Gravy from Food Integrity Now. Very excited about interviewing her. She's been around in the food movement for a long time. She's on the board of Moms Against Monsanto, Moms Across America, and has her own podcast and radio show. So that should be a great episode. Well, my friends, I will catch you on the flip side. And until then, grow healthy, people.